9 complex tests, 1 winner. Let's put Perplexity and Google Gemini head to head. Google has dominated search for years, but people are using more and more AI to do web search. Instead of opening 10 links and then piecing everything together ourselves, tools like Perplexity and Gemini can search the web, read multiple sources, and give us one organized answer. So let's put them to test and figure out if they are a real replacement to Google. I'm picking Perplexity and Gemini for this comparison because both are advertised as a search engine, unlike ChatGPT or Claude, which are general purpose LLMs. You can access both these AI services using these links. Both have free tiers, which are more than sufficient to use as everyday web search engines. Some ground rules first. When we say a search engine, it's not supposed to hallucinate. It should work only with the actual source web pages, should fetch the latest information, and should give me the right sources. Just like Google search. With that said, let's start with the first test. I asked for the 5 biggest AI announcements from the previous 7 days, including exact dates, explanations, and original sources. This was to test how well it can pull the latest information, can it cite sources, and how relevant the answers are to my question. With Perplexity, it was a mixed bag. On one try, Perplexity said it could not reliably identify and rank 5 announcements, so it did not fully answer the question. I appreciate that it admitted uncertainty instead of making things up. But current news is one of the main reasons people use AI search engine. But I also retried it later with the same question, and this time Perplexity was able to find and give me the relevant answers. So straight up, reliability-wise, I'm already questioning it. Let's try Google Gemini now. Gemini gave me a complete, clearly organized list with dates, explanations, and sources. Some details still needed verification, but Gemini was much more useful here because it actually completed the task. The other big plus point is the sources were properly cited right next to each announcement, which was really helpful to dive deeper if needed. So Gemini won this round. So test 1 was based on a published news. Let's see how each one does, which does not have any official data. I asked whether Apple had officially confirmed a foldable iPhone, and I told both tools to separate confirmed information from rumors. Perplexity immediately answered no and clearly divided the response into confirmed facts, rumors, possible timelines, and source status. I like how straight Perplexity's answer was. If I had to do this with Google search, think about how many websites I would have to go through before I get a definitive answer. This is where AI search engine helps. Now, Gemini. Gemini reached the same conclusion, but its answers included a lot more speculation about materials, cameras, prices, and potential product names. Some of that was interesting, but it moved away from my actual question. So Perplexity was clearer, more focused, and better at separating fact from rumor. So Perplexity won this round. I then asked for 3 highly rated vegetarian restaurants near Pike's Place Market that would be open after 7 p.m. on a Saturday. This is something which also would have taken a long time for me to figure out myself. But Perplexity recommended 3 restaurants, but admitted that it could not verify the Saturday hours for one of them. Gemini provided restaurants, walking distances, price ranges, vegetarian dishes, and menu links. Perplexity was more transparent about missing information, while Gemini gave the more complete answer. For practical usefulness, I gave this round to Gemini, but local recommendations should always be checked before visiting because hours and menus can change. Okay, now I asked which US states do not charge an individual state income tax as of August 5th, 2026. I also asked for an official government source for every state. Both tools returned the same 9 states, and at first, Gemini looked better because it linked directly to state government websites, while Perplexity used sources such as Purdue University and other articles. But when I opened Gemini's links, the quality was inconsistent. One of its citation led to an article about small businesses and did not support the income tax claim. This was an important lesson. An official looking link is not automatically a good citation. The exact page still has to prove the claim. Perplexity's sources were more relevant, but they were not the official government sources that I requested, and at least one was outdated. So neither tool handled this perfectly. So I call this round a tie. On the topic of AI improving productivity, I want to quickly showcase my very own AI-powered task management iOS app. It's called the Ango Tasks. Many of you have used Ango Tasks and provided useful feedback. For those who haven't tried, it's available in iOS App Store. Please give it a try and share your feedback. The latest version has an upgraded, elegant, and clean UI. It has all the necessary features that you would expect from a task management app, like easy task creation, due date and time notifications, folder management, subtasks, notes, attachments, and a lot more. But today, I want to showcase its AI features that will improve your productivity significantly. And these AI features is what makes the Ango Tasks different from other task apps. To start off, it has natural language task parsing. So simply type in natural language with date, time, priority, and every detail will be extracted. Have a bunch of tasks or even list of items as text in messages or email, simply paste the whole text and Ango Tasks will extract every single task or item and create a beautiful task list for you. Have a whiteboard, screenshot, or even a sticky note with task notes on them. Simply take a photo and Ango Tasks will fetch all the tasks and convert them into lists. Even better, simply talk in your natural language of the list of items to get done. Your tasks will be extracted and beautifully organized. It can plan your day, two-way sync with Google Calendars, import existing reminders from Apple Reminders, and a lot more features. Give it a try. I'm sure you will not just love it, but also improve your productivity. Link to download the app in the description below. For the next test, I asked whether charging an iPhone overnight damages the battery. Both answers were useful. Perplexity explained that modern iPhones stop actively charging once it's full. And that heat and spending long periods at a high charge level can contribute to gradual battery aging. It also made it clear that this is very different from the myth that overnight charging immediately ruins your phone. Gemini gave me a more detailed explanation of lithium-ion batteries, heat, optimized battery charging, and the 80% limit on supported iPhones. Gemini was more comprehensive, but Perplexity was easier to understand and felt more measured. For a normal user who just wants a practical answer, I preferred Perplexity. Next, I asked both the tools to recommend 3 laptops for a college student. Each laptop had to cost under $1,000, weigh less than 3 pounds, include at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, and offer good battery life. Both of them gave me 3 options. Perplexity answered much faster and used a compact table. Gemini took longer but gave me more detailed explanations and shopping links. Then I asked both the tools to remove any laptop without at least 2 USB-C ports. Perplexity became too cautious and suggested removing the MacBook Air unless its ports could be verified, even though the MacBook Air does have 2 Thunderbolt USB-C ports. Gemini correctly checked the ports and kept all the 3 of its recommendations. I then asked which remaining laptop would be best for occasional 4K video editing. Perplexity chose the HP OmniBook 5, while Gemini chose the MacBook Air and explained the advantages of Apple's Silicon Media Engine. Gemini's choice made much more sense for this use case. When I asked for the biggest disadvantage, Gemini stayed consistent and pointed out that the entry-level MacBook Air's 256GB storage could be restrictive for 4K footage. Gemini clearly won the shopping and follow-up round. It remembered the requirements, checked the specifications, and adapted its recommendation better. Next, I asked both tools to plan 2 days in Seattle for a family with a 5-year-old. The itinerary had to avoid long hikes, include prices and vegetarian meals, and group attractions geographically. Now, keep in mind, any AI like ChatGPT would have given the same itinerary based on its own knowledge. But what I'm looking for is the itinerary that is based on the web sources and blogs. Perplexity planned one day around Seattle Center and another around Pike Place Market and the waterfront. The plan was simple, realistic, and easy to follow. Gemini gave exact times, ticket estimates, and more restaurant details, but it moved between more neighborhoods and even returned to Seattle Center on the second day after already visiting it on the first. Gemini's answer looked more impressive, but Perplexity's plan felt more practical for a family with a young child. Perplexity won this round. For a more complex test, I asked both the tools to compare the estimated 5-year ownership cost of an electric vehicle and a gasoline vehicle for someone driving 12,000 miles per year in the Seattle area. Perplexity used ranges, clearly listed its assumptions, and separated electricity or fuel, maintenance, insurance, depreciation, registration fees, and Washington incentives. It also warned that Washington's EV rebate was income qualified and should not automatically be included for everyone. Gemini produced a more detailed calculation with a precise final number, but some numbers appeared inconsistent between its summary and the detailed breakdown. This showed how AI can make an answer look more certain than it really is. Perplexity was more cautious and transparent, so I trusted its answer more as a starting point. For the final test, I asked whether AI search engines are likely to replace traditional search engines within the next 5 years. I asked both tools to consider user behavior, advertising, publishers, accuracy, hallucinations, and market adoption. There was no separate deep research option available in either interface, so I used their regular search modes. Both tools reached a similar conclusion. AI search probably will not completely replace traditional search in 5 years, but it will significantly change how people search. Gemini's response was visually cleaner and more structured. Perplexity placed more citations close to its claims and did a better job of separating evidence for and against the prediction. It also used more cautious language. For a research-heavy question where I want to inspect the sources, I preferred Perplexity. So, which one is a better search engine? For pure AI search, Perplexity is my winner because it is faster, more concise, and makes sources easier to inspect. Gemini is better when we want detailed explanations, stronger follow-up reasoning, and more polished recommendations. Both tools did have their quirks. So use Perplexity for quick research and easy source checking. Use Gemini when you want a broader AI assistant that can research, reason through follow-ups, and turn the information into a recommendation or a plan. Which one do you prefer, Perplexity or Gemini? Let me know in the comments. I'll catch you in the next one. This is Anjana. Bye-bye.